Let's take a close look at that region tool, which creates complex shapes that have been created from two or more closed elements. In other words, two or more closed shapes are combined in one form or another to create a region which may or may not be a complex shape, depending on the original elements. Let me draw a couple of simple shapes first. So I'm just using the Place Block tool. I'll use the rotated version of it and just draw a couple of very simple blocks. Now when I use the Boolean tools on this, the result will be a closed shape, not a complex shape, because these two blocks do not contain more than one element type. However, it works exactly the same way. Let's start the Create Region tool. We'll start with Flood, see how that works. I don't need a gap, and we'll leave it on Ignore Interior Shapes for the moment. I don't want to keep the originals, and I don't want a fill color. However, do turn on this option, which is Dynamic Area Locate. See why this is so in a second. So that is on. Now, when I go into this drawing and simply move my cursor into this area, I will see highlighted the resulting shape of this operation. Move over here, there's another resulting shape. Into here, there's a third resulting shape. And I can select any of these simply by data pointing. Data point, right click. And that's the resulting Boolean operation on those two blocks. The dynamic locate simply gives you a very quick means of identifying whether you have the correct resulting shape or not. I'm going to undo this. Now I'm not going to look at these other two options here, which really belong to hatching and patterning, which we'll certainly have a look at later on. What I want to do is go to the specific Boolean tools, which is union and intersection and difference. And when we use these, you'll see where the flood method resulting shapes come from. Let's start with union. Notice that when I select this option, the tool settings window reduces in size and I don't have the multiple area options or the dynamic option. So what we're doing here then is making a union of these two shapes. So what I finish up with then is this. I can data point on this one first, and then this one, and data point, and that's the resulting shape. It's a union of those two blocks. Now that wasn't possible using the flood method. Let's undo. Let's try the next one, which is intersection. Again, select this, data point. That's the intersection area of those two blocks. The outer part of those blocks has been erased. Let's undo. Try the third option, difference. Now here you have to be a little careful about where you data point because it does make a difference. Let's start with this one again and this one again and data point. Now that's the difference between the two if I select those two blocks in that order. If I undo and reverse the selection, data point on this one first, then this one, data point, I have a different result. So careful selection of the order that you data point is important. Let me undo that again. And this time let's keep the originals, meaning that my two blocks will remain, and I'll also have the resulting Boolean operation. So now we need to discover what we have left. And if you move your cursor onto the two rectangles, you'll see the shape there. We won't see the shape there because that doesn't exist. We won't see the shape there because it's on the other side, but here we can see the shape. And if we drag that away, we'll drag away the actual region that we've created and our two existing. So that's an option. And it's quite useful if you need to separate the actual Boolean shape from the original objects and continue working with that on its own. And just to round things off, remember that you can add a fill color to the resulting Boolean operation. And if you're working in a congested drawing with many details, it helps to zoom in to the immediate area where you're working on the Boolean operations. This helps MarkerStation discover the areas a little more efficiently. As always, please practice. Make up some closed shapes of your own and include multiple element types in those shapes. Doing that will create complex shapes rather than merely shapes. In the next video, we'll take a look at a practical use for regions and complex shapes.